So an essential piece of kit that every driver should have in their car is a tyre inflator. They're generally small, compact devices. They plug into the car's cigarette lighter to draw power from the car's battery, and they do a pretty good job of topping up the tyres. So this isn't going to be a review of lots of models. We don't have the funds to buy all of the models available, and I would want to buy all of them and cover them all just to do a thorough job. But instead, we're just going to look at some things you should look out for when buying them, some problems that people experience when they use them that usually leads to premature failure of the tyre inflator, and just give you a good grasp on whether you should go for one of the high-end versions, a mid-range budget, or the extreme low-end price points that you can buy. So the big problem that people have using tyre inflators is that they use them for too long. You will notice the manufacturer specifies that it will work for a period of typically 10 minutes, some go to about 20 minutes. But the longer you use them, the hotter they get. And when they get too hot, they will burn out, and at that point they just fail. They won't work anymore. You've damaged the mechanism inside that compresses the air. The more expensive versions that you can get actually have metal pistons and metal components that are much more resilient to that heat problem than the plastic versions that are offered, but they do cost that little bit more. So have a look very carefully at the manufacturer's description. They will tell you how long it takes to inflate the tyre. They will give you the noise levels that you get. Some of these are really noisy and you will wind up your neighbours just trying to inflate your tyres. So bear in mind the noise level. It's an important consideration if you live in a heavily populated urban area. And they'll also tell you the number of minutes of continuous use that you can get out of it before it starts to fail and burn out. And take that as a guide and back off a little bit. So particularly as they start getting old, if the manufacturer says it's good for 10 minutes continuous use, back off to about 7 minutes of continuous use. So in most cases, these ones will give you the ability to top up the tyre pressures. So if you check your tyre pressures regularly, that shouldn't be a problem. You're just putting a few PSI into the tyre every 2 weeks, every month or so. And these can really easily handle that sort of load. But if the tyre is completely flat, it may take significantly longer to get that pressure in there. And we also need to bear in mind that a lot of the tyre pressure gauges that come on these units, particularly on the cheaper ones, are inaccurate. So whenever you buy one, it's certainly worth getting a separate tyre pressure monitor and just check how accurate it is. If you think you're putting 37 PSI in your tyre and you're only putting in 31, that is quite a big problem. So having an accurate measurement is really useful. You can scale it up on your tyre inflator and just make sure that you overshoot its false low reading and you get nearer to the accurate reading that you actually want. So the amount of pressure you're putting in the tyres will put quite an extra load on the tyre inflator itself. So some of the more expensive ones may be rated to about 100 PSI. Now you might think that's overkill, but it does mean you've got a big scope for using it in anger and it not failing on you. So if you are often inflating your tyres, or you have particularly large tyres and they require quite a long duration in inflating them, it would certainly pay to invest in one of the more expensive versions of this product just to make sure that you get your tyres properly inflated without damaging the life of the tyre inflator. If you've got relatively small tyres and they're quite good at holding the pressure, you're only putting a few PSI in, then I would certainly move down in price point. I would stick to the mid-range though. You really want a tyre inflator that can handle continuous running for between 10 and 20 minutes. I personally feel that if they top out at 10 minutes, that's usually not enough to fully inflate a couple of tyres in a lot of situations, but it does depend a lot on the tyre pressure that your manufacturer is stating you should be aiming for, and the tyre itself and how much pressure that can hold and how much work that tyre inflator is doing in pushing that air into the tyre. So I hope this has been useful to you. It's given you an insight into some of the things to look for. Do read the reviews very carefully. Most sites you'll have a big range of reviews, and if lots of people are mentioning that they've burnt out very, very quickly, or that the tyre pressure is totally inaccurate or even random in its appearance, it might be worth just avoiding those models and going with a model that's got substantially better reviews. But bear in mind, reviews, although they look impartial, they can often be manipulated. I've often been asked when I've bought products products to review it, and I've been offered an incentive or reward for giving a positive review, and I won't have anything to do with companies that employ those tactics. If you've got a good product, you shouldn't need to bribe people in order to recommend it to others. So thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because we would love you to stay tuned. We've got lots more videos coming up like this one that will help you to get the most out of your car. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.